All right, so today I'm going to show you how to do a beautiful, like full glam type of style. We're going to have some waves with a very high, voluminous pony, but we're going to have the front kind of sleek. So we're actually going to skip the crimping process today, but we will be adding in some extensions just for the thickness. So what I'm going to do to start off with is I am still going to spray the hair down with heat protectant. We're just going to skip the actual crimping. So I'm going to spray it with heat protectant. She has medium to coarse strands of hair, but she's got relatively thin hair. So it's medium to thin in how much hair she has. So we will be adding in those extensions, but just so you understand what type of hair I'm working with, she's gorgeous. She is Brazilian. Her hair is like medium to coarse in the individual strands of hair. Okay. Beautiful. Okay, so from here, I am going to begin to section her hair. So we are actually going to avoid a part today. We are not doing a part. You can do a part if you want, but I am going to stick with a sleek look today. So what I am going to do is I am going to section her hair from about her ear, like the top of her ear here, all the way up and match it on the other side. Okay. Just about right here. Let's see how this is looking. So right about the top of the ear, right here, and then I'm creating a line going all the way up, kind of like like an upside down U shape for this as well. And because I'm working with extensions, I have a little bit of freedom and flexibility with how much hair I can take in. And if it's too thin of hair, I can always add some more extensions to like the top section. But I think this is pretty good. This is the size section I'm working with. Go ahead and look all the way up for me. I'm gonna have, yep. So like this. And now I'm gonna section this away. Okay. And now I'm going to move these little drapey pieces out of the way as well. Okay, so now this is the section of hair that I'm working with right here. I'm going to add extensions into this, and I'm going to do a twist wrap as well. So I think I'm going to do a twist wrap. This is preference. I think I'm going to do it all going towards the middle of the head, the middle to the back of the head. So this side will be going towards the middle, this side will be going towards the middle. So I'm going to just go ahead and use a 1 1/4 size curling iron because I don't want these waves to be super duper tight. I just want them to be kind of relaxed, like a modern, sleek kind of looking wave. I'm going to grab my texture powder and pump this right into the roots. And I am going to cut this in half and do a little bit of a thinner sized section to start so I can add some extensions in. Okay. So I already got some texture powder in there. And I'm going to lightly back comb right at the root, just so that there is some grip for my extensions to go into. Starting off with a 2-clip extension. And I am kind of just picking up the hair like halfway through, putting my finger right underneath of where I want to add it into, and put it right down into that tease. And this is still pretty thin. So I'm going to take this section, drop it down until, and add another extension, and then go ahead and use this whole section to curl. So let's add another extension in. Let's back comb first. I were to curl each individual section that I'm putting the extensions into, what would happen is that it would just take forever for me to get through the whole head of hair to curl. I don't need to do that. Now this, see, because her hair is already thin to kind of to start off with, this is still pretty thin even with extensions in and another layer of thin, her natural hair added on top. So I'm gonna add one more extension set and then begin curling. Let's see if this one will work. It's a little bit big. Let's see. This is a little thin, a little too small. I think we actually can get away with doing a three size one. Let me just make sure. Okay, I'm gonna start off with going in the center first. And I'm gonna go all the way over here to this side, making sure I know for a fact it'll be covered, which I believe that it will be. I might need to take down a little bit more hair. Okay. Okay, feel that? That feels pretty secure. But I want to make sure I'm causing like a big rat's nest right now. Okay, it's a little bit smooth. Her hair naturally is very silky. So I just want to add in some more texture powder. Perfect. That's good on that side. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. I just need to make sure that there's enough grit in the hair that the extensions just won't slip out. Okay. Yep, that feels good. Okay, now this is a good amount of hair. I'm going to begin curling it. I'm going to use a 1 1/4 inch sized section and a 1 1/4 inch size curling iron. Okay, so I'm going to take this first section here. Your wet hairspray to start on top and underneath. Brush this section. And I'm going to do a twist wrap curl as well. So using a 1 1/4 inch barrel. And I'm going to go away from the face towards the center of the back of the head and twist wrap. And I'm going to have this really close and tight on the barrel because I do want that wave look as my end result, like a Hollywood wave. So I'm going to make sure that my sections on the barrel are really tight and close together and that I'm not leaving any amount of hair out of the barrel. I'm making sure that the very ends of the hair are also in the curling iron. And then just going to clip that so it stays. Grab my next size section. Spray with hairspray on top and underneath and brush. Whenever I'm brushing with extensions, I always make sure to have a gentle hand because I don't want to pull on the extensions too much, pull out the extensions. So I'm a little bit careful with how firmly I'm tugging on the hair when I'm brushing it or pulling it out. Oh, you know what? I just naturally went into an alternating curl pattern and that's not what I want to do. Okay, we're going to go continue to do it towards the center of the head. See, I can't, even sometimes I will get messed up and I'm like, what am I doing? All right, sorry. Let's do that again. I'm going to continue in the same way. I'm going to go twist wrap towards the back of the center of the head. So this side is all going towards the center of the head as well. So this is going the exact same direction as the previous one. And now I'm going to clip it, trying not to let it fall too much as well. And then this, now that we're kind of getting towards the center, I'm going to do this towards, the opposite direction. So from these two sections now are going to go the opposite direction. These ones are also going to be meeting towards the middle this way. And I'm waiting until it feels too warm to touch on the outside before I release it. So now it's starting to get uncomfortably warm, and I'm gonna release it now. And not letting it fall before I clip it. See, these are kind of all at the same length. They're all falling at the same place. So I'm making sure that they're all resting around the same place, and that when I'm placing them in the barrel, they're also they're around the same place on the head. This will make a difference for when I begin styling it, because if I let them cool at different heights, then they're going to be at different heights when I begin styling it, and then they're not going to blend seamlessly like waves do. This is a bit of a thicker section. I think I could have made this and cut this in half, but that's all right. All right. I'm just going to redo this one here. Those ends were poking out. Okay. I'm going to wait until they're uncomfortably warm to the touch before I release. And I'm not letting the curl drop. I'm holding it in my hand still, and then I am clipping. All right, and now let's take the next section, and we're going to continue to do the same thing. We're going to add a little bit of extensions in. All right, so this is what it's looking like. Because remember, this is clipped away, and this is the amount of hair we're working with, not a whole lot here. So I'm going to take a thin section, but just enough hair where I can stick some extensions in. Perfect. Flip this out of the way. Add my texture powder. And back comb underneath. Right at the root. I'm going to grab another set of extensions. I'm going to go in with another 3 clip extension. See if I can work with that right in here. Yep. I like to work in the middle first and make sure that I'm centered. But I also want to make sure that there's not like a massive bubble or that it's not uncomfortable for her. Is that okay? All right. Okay. Added that in, and again, this is pretty thin, so I'm going to go in with another set of extensions here. But now that I'm getting working up the head, I'm going to go with a smaller sized, smaller width of extension. So I'm going to probably go in with just another 2 clip because I don't want them to be visible on either side. Okay, go with my texture powder. Back comb. And I do want there to be volume in this style up in here. So I'm going to back comb as I start to move up the head a little bit. I am going to back comb just underneath and not like on top to make sure that I give some lift and projection. 2 birds with 1 stone, putting extensions in and adding some volume as well. So now I'm going to go in with another 2 clip. Just like that. All right, and now this section I'm going to divide and curl again like I did underneath. Lightly brushing out any tangle. All right. Take this section, and I do want to keep even sized sections. So I'm going to divide this hair and make sure it feels kind of the same as all the other size sections I'm taking. I don't want there to be one has a lot of hair, the other side doesn't have as like the same amount of hair. I do want to keep my sections feeling pretty consistent. They all feel like they have the same amount of hair, which will help when I begin forming the waves a little bit. It'll make it easier for me to do that. Okay, I'm going to spray on top and spray underneath with hairspray. I'm running low on hairspray, so I'm spraying a little more, trying to get it out of the bottle. How much hairspray I spray kind of just depends on how thick a section I take and what their hair type is like. If it's super duper duper fine, then I probably won't spray nearly as much. But because I'm adding in extensions and she already has some like medium to coarse hair, I'm actually spraying a little bit more than I would for someone else. So spray on top, spray underneath. And now again, just like before, I'm going to go towards the center of the head. So if I'm going to go, if you're doing this with me right now and we're curling together, I'm doing a twist wrap. So this hair is moving towards the middle, which means it's going to the left. And that means that the hair is going to go underneath of the barrel. And I'm going to twist around, 1 twist per wraparound. Keeping the sections on the curling iron tight and close to the barrel. Like tight, close together on the barrel. Try not to let it drop. And clipping away. All right, and now my next size section, right here, same exact thing. And I'm going to spray on top, spray underneath. I did about 4 spritz on top and 4 underneath. And same thing, underneath of the barrel and wrap around, 1 twist per wraparound. And the twists going around the barrel are tight and close together. There's not massive gaps in between the twists. Woo! All right. And clip away. And these are both landing right around the same place. And then both of these sections feel right about the same. Spray on top, spray underneath, and brush this product through to the ends. Making sure the hair is nice and smooth before I place it into the barrel. And now this one's going to go towards the center of the head the opposite way. So now I want this hair to go to the right. So I'm going to bring the hair right on over the barrel and do the same thing, 1 twist per wraparound. And they're all landing right around the same place. And then I'm going to go the same thing, spray on top, spray underneath. And I'm staying pretty consistent with her hair type. I'm doing like 4 on top and 4 underneath when I'm spraying, like 4 spritz of hair, moving my wrist like this, so I'm going along the whole length of the hair as I'm spraying. And then I am going to do the same thing as I just did. The hair is moving towards the right, so the hair is starting right on over the barrel. So the hair is going over the barrel. I'm going to reposition this as well. Okay. I need a better grip. There we go. Waiting until it's uncomfortably warm to the touch before I release. And clip. And they're all falling right about the same place. And then we have our last section up here. I'm going to treat this last little section right here as if it is a part of the crown and the height and the volume. So I'm going to add some texture powder in here and try to get a good amount of lift right in this section. So let's see what the side looks like so you know where I'm working on right now. This section right here, which would normally be right about towards the bottom of our crown on any other style. This section, I'm going to add a lot of texture powder and just begin teasing right at the root. So because this is a little bit thicker, I'm going to work in individual sections, but this whole part, I'm just going to begin teasing. So I'm going to lift the hair right up and I'm going to firmly pack it in right into the root. Right in the root. Like that. And now I'm going to take these sections and just bring it back over, fan it out as I do so. So now there's a lot of height here, which is great. That's what we want. So I'm not going to add any more extensions in, but I'm just going to begin curling this. It's not nearly as thick as the sections we were working with before because we aren't adding any extensions here, but that's okay. With that being said, I probably can get away with just splitting this right in half because it's thin. See how thin this is? Splitting this directly in half, and I'm just going to curl these sections. If I were to take them into like 4 different sections, each section would be so thin, especially with a larger curling barrel. So I'm just splitting this in half and brushing that product through. Hairspray on top and underneath. And twisting towards the back and the center of the head. It's okay if my waves aren't absolutely perfect for this style too. It's just a matter of preference. So if you want the waves to be absolutely perfect, you can focus a little bit more attention on creating a very Hollywood, like the same steps that we would do for Hollywood waves. If you don't care for the back to be very Hollywood, but you just want it to be curled and pretty, and you could do an alternating curl direction. Or you could just have kind of like not super structured Hollywood waves. Whatever you want to do, or if your client asks for, obviously. Just see what they show you, and if it's similar, just make sure to look at the actual curls. And if they look more like waves, then make it look more like waves. If it doesn't, that's the kind of thing to just kind of communicate through. So before we even work on this top section of the head, right? We sectioned that away from the beginning. Before we even begin working on that, I want to form my waves, make them all pretty, and then we'll focus on this top half at the very end. So from here, let me just go ahead and move these clips out of the way. Got to bring these up and move these out of the way. Helps me stay a little bit more organized. I also love to clip Love to clip my curls just to make sure that they will last all night and none of them will drop or fall. And like I said before, it does help me stay more organized as well. Okay, so those are out of the way. Now I'm just going to begin shaping my waves. So I'm going to go in with some texture powder underneath, and I'm not going to let go of the bottom of the hair. Although I do notice there's a little bit of a tangle right there. All right, and now I'm going to lightly backcomb right where the peak is. Every single place where the hair comes out, I'm going to do a light backcomb underneath. All right, and I'm going to fan this hair out as far as I can. Okay, and I'm going to use the medium hairspray that I'm going to use right now until I run out, which might be very soon, is my Osis Volume Up, because it adds a little bit of shine to the hair. And I'm also going to use my medium hold hairspray Moroccan oil. So I'm running low on my Osis Volume Up, but I do want to just keep the shine. So I'm only going to go in with this medium hold, this one, the Volume Up at the end, because it'll be more visible on the top. So just right now, I'm going to go in with my Moroccan oil medium hold hairspray, since this is going to be on the very bottom and not really visible. Okay, so we've got this, and this section. We're going to do the same thing. So I'm going to take this out, let it fall. Now I'm going to grab the very tail end of it, and I'm going to pull on it outwards and then just pump texture powder underneath. This helps it stay. And then again, I'm going to go in at the peak and backcomb underneath. And I'm going to just overlap this like that. Just like that. And this section, I do want a lot of hair to come up to the front of the style. So I am going to keep this kind of divided. This will be the back. This will be the front. So I'm just going to move this right now to the front and just section it away, because I do want there, like I said, to be quite a bit in the very front. And you have to make that decision before you begin styling. So if somebody comes to you and they show you like a Hollywood wave, talk to them and see how much hair they want out in the front. And this will help determine from the very start where you're going to begin sectioning it versus overlapping it and creating one big section that moves like one piece. If they want more hair in the front, you'll have to divide it in the beginning. Taking this out, same thing, texture powder underneath, holding the ends and making sure not let go of the ends, and then back combing like this and fanning out the hair. And notice I'm still not letting go of the bottom, and fanning this out. And spraying with medium hold hairspray. Just like that. Okay, and now this I also want to go towards the front. So I'm not going to add this into the back. I'm going to just bring it around to the front of the head. So let's go ahead and pull on this, add texture powder underneath. And back comb. Just to the front, like that. Okay. And now hairspray. All right, and now I'm going to remove this, remove these clips and repeat the exact same process. So this one right here is going to be added to the front. Texture powder underneath. And lightly back comb at the peak. And I'm kind of brushing this top layer too if it's looking like a little bit frizzy, or if I can see where the hairspray kind of looks crunchy. And now I'm going to add this into my previous size section. Just like so. And anywhere where I'm combing like this, I'm only doing it inside, not at the peak, because the peak has the back comb that we just did. So I'm only making sure to comb at the indentation of that wave. Right, just like that. So we just did this section. Now we're going to continue. This is the section that's going to stay in the back. And lightly back comb right at the peak. And I just fanned out this whole section, adding medium hold hairspray. And then this same exact thing. Okay, and back comb right at the peak and fan it out. Fanning it up on the top and fanning it out the middle and on the bottom, making sure everywhere I'm fanning it out. I don't want there to ever look, I don't want it to look piecey. I want to make sure it kind of all looks like one piece. Hairspray, right? Just like that. And now this section is going to go on top of this layer, just like we did over here. So I'm going to pump powder underneath. And back comb like that. And fan it out, making sure it blends. I'm pulling on it a little bit to make sure that it lines up right where I have it on the underneath part. So wherever there's a peak on the underneath layer, I'm making sure that the peak is the same for this. And now I'm just kind of cleaning up, blending the two sections together, making sure that any frizz is like tame. Okay, just like that. And now we only have one more section to go. This one we're gonna just keep in the center on the back here because we don't need to add it to the front. Pumping powder and back comb underneath. And right now I'm thinking on if I want to create a new, like, a new shelf. And I think I do. I think it'll look better if I add just a new shelf, meaning that I'm not going to pull it down so the ridges are matching up to the bottom ones, because then it'll be more flat up here, and I want to keep the volume. So I'm starting a new shelf. So now this is coming up, and then wherever this peak is where this one is. I hope that makes sense. If you have questions about it, just post it in the Facebook group and ask. And I'd be happy to help answer any questions. But when I mean new shelf, I'm just not pulling on the hair to get it to line up with the bottom half. I'm starting a new ridges and just making sure that the bottom lines up with one of the peaks of the wave. And I want to add a new shelf here as well. Like I want these to blend. I want these to match in height. which is another reason why it's good to do that when you are curling, to make sure that they blend and that they are at the same place on the curling iron. Hairspray. Okay, all right. This is what we're working with right now. We have the hair done in the back, and now we only have this very top, and I want to sleek that baby up and create a nice ponytail. We're gonna add a lot of height, a lot of volume right here, very elegant, very glam. And so we want to sleek this up. So I'm gonna just begin to remove all of my clips so that we can work on this top section, this top layer here. Okay, my clips are removed. And now I'm just brushing out all the tangles. And this is a pretty good like sized thickness of hair. So what I'm gonna do, just to make it a little bit more, just easier to work with, is I'm gonna split this in half again. And I think it'll end up making my life a lot easier. People don't realize just how tricky like getting the hair to look really sleek really is. It's not just as simple as throwing it back in a ponytail. Getting it to look not bumpy, it can be kind of tricky. So I'm just gonna move this hair into the front right here. And brush this hair up. Just dividing this in half because I'm going to begin to just spray this with hairspray. And I don't think it's going to work out if I use a too thick of a section. So what I'm going to go in now and do is use my medium hold hairspray by Moroccan-Oil, and I'm just going to spray the heck out of this section, getting close to the ears, grabbing all of this. And now I'm going to use my comb. Doesn't matter what comb you use. And just begin to work quickly so that it doesn't dry. Work quickly and brush, 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 up and back. Up and back. I might be able to get it better with my Tangle Teaser comb. Okay, now this is moving easier for me. Now I'm going to begin to do the same thing, but I'm going to take all of this hair from the front and add it in and just completely bring this back. And we are going to smooth this nice and tightly. Okay, and spray again. So now I'm going to move up to the front so you can see what I'm doing in the front here. Okay, and I'm just going to begin to spray. Spray, spray, spray. Going in with my Tangle Teaser comb and then just quickly and brushing it all back and up. But I want to avoid seeing these these lines from my hairbrush. So I'm going to go in then with a boar brush to make my life a little bit easier. Otherwise, it feels impossible to try to get rid of these like harsh brush lines. Going in with more hairspray. And now I'm going to use my boar brush. Making sure that both sides are completely sleek and smooth. and tight. This is a lot trickier than what it looks like. This side, I don't want this to look super messy right here. So I need to just come in and clean this up here. Hairspray is your best friend. You'll be using a lot of hairspray. Oh my goodness, I'm dropping things everywhere. Okay. More hairspray. Any part that feels too dry, like it's not going to work, go in with more hairspray. And you want to avoid any harsh lines. You don't want to see your scalp either. And we can always go in and with like a root touch up, especially on clients with really, really dark hair, you might need to go in with a root touch up just in throughout here to make it look more full. And just for temporary placement, I'm going to take this and hold this section for now while I just make sure that this side is nice and smooth. Same thing. I'm going to go in here, just have that be held, and I'm going to have you look all the way up for me. Yep. Make sure there's no crazy little weird ridges. And I'm going to remove this clip on this side. The biggest thing is trying to make sure it looks smooth everywhere. And it's not always the simplest thing to do. Okay. Again, making sure both sides are even. Holding it nice and firm and tight. And I can always go back in afterwards and smooth down any of these little baby hairs as well. But right now I just want to make sure it's all centered. and tight. And now I want to go in and add a ponytail, but I need to make sure it's really, I keep it looking tight. And I'm not worried about this visible extension right here because I'm going to be able to cover it. Let me just make sure the height is good here. I want it to be visible from the front. So we're going to create a lot of, I'm having this be kind of high because I'm going to make sure that from the front, it's really nice, high, and super visible. So what I'm going to go in and do is I have a little bungee that's like this. You can get them from Amazon, but this is what I currently have right now. But you can use a rubber band with two bobby pins on either, like a bobby pin on either side to create a bungee. You can use your dressmaker's elastic and do it. You can use your bungee tape, whatever is easiest. But this is what I currently have on me. So I'm just going to hook this right into the hair and then firmly wrap this around. Keep wrapping it. And then tuck it right back into the hair. Okay. So this is how high it is. This is what it's looking like, just like this. And I'm going to go back in and clean this up a little bit more after I am finished. This is what this is looking like. And just to make sure that it's like not going to go anywhere, I'm going to actually go in and add another elastic. Just using a little black elastic. And now that I've got my ponytail created, I'm not worried about it slipping out or anything. I'm just going to do a normal ponytail like this. Okay. Brushing out the ponytail. Now, what I want to do is I want to curl this as well. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just taking, this isn't really thick, so I'm just probably going to divide it in half. Clip this up the front, and add a lot of texture powder right at the base and a few inches down as well. And before I even begin to curl it, I am just going to add a ton on this bottom layer here, a ton of back comb. Adding it on top as well. And I'm also not using my teasing comb. I'm using this one. Okay, look how much height and volume that is. It looks like a rat's nest, yes, but it will not when we're done with it. So going in and just adding a ton of back comb. That. And now just brushing out the bottom. I'm going to divide this in half. Making sure this bottom half is nice and smooth. Add my hairspray. Brush this through. I'm not brushing out the tease on the very top, just this half down. And twist wrap. But my curling iron turned off, so I gotta wait for it to turn back on. That's what you get when you are, I don't know, yours may not be like this, but mine has like a turn off time. So if I haven't been using it for a little bit, my curling iron turns off. Gotta love it. Okay, it should be hot enough now. So now I'm just going to begin to wrap it, twist wrap it. I'm gonna clip this out of the way right now just to stay organized. And now, same thing on this side. Spray with hairspray, brush that product through. And now this is going to be twisted towards the center the opposite way. Just like before, this wasn't a very thick section, so I just needed to divide it in half, and that was going to be perfect for what I needed it. Okay, just like this. And now this one up here, I'm gonna just brush this out as well. And I'm gonna divide a little section of this hair on the very top, like this. It's not super thin, but it's also not very thick at all. So I just want this to be completely out of my way. We're gonna use this last, and it's gonna look really pretty, and I can't wait to show you what we're gonna do with that. But for this piece, we're gonna do the exact same thing. We're gonna add a lot of texture powder right into here. And now I'm gonna go in and begin back combing like this. Right at the base, and also going up a little bit higher. A little bit of a rat's nest here. But then on the very top, I want it to try to not be very visible. So I just need to come back in and smooth it down on the very top. So I'm kind of careful to not put my comb all the way through the hair. So for example, like on this side, it's like a rat's nest because I also tease on top, but I didn't tease on top on this layer because it's the top visible layer. And I want to make sure that there is no tease visible on top. I want the top layer to be extremely smooth. Okay, now just dividing that in half. Wet hairspray. Okay. Just like that. And now same thing on this side. Wet hairspray. It didn't really do a whole lot of hairspray underneath the hair because this is such a thin piece that I don't really need to. It got enough hairspray on the top for me to not have to put any on the bottom just because of how thin the section is. I don't want to like drench it. Okay, just like so. Again, I want these to kind of fall at the same place. All right. And then what I'm going to do for this very, very top piece is spray it with hairspray. I'm not really teasing the top piece. Just spraying it with hairspray. And it just doesn't matter which direction this one goes, but I am going to just twist it. Around the barrel. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this over. Okay. I'm going to flip these over and flip this one over. The whole ponytail is flipped. All right. Now I'm going to add a big fat padding. I just used a synthetic hair just like this. I used an entire one of these. And I fluffed it all up and I put it inside a hairnet just like this. And now I'm going to add this padding right into here, just like this. So from the side angle, it's covering this ponytail and it's coming down like this because I don't want the volume in my pony to collapse. So I'm going to add this. Now I'm going to stick a bobby pin right into the top here. just like this, push it down into the center. Make sure it's good on both sides. So this is what it's looking like. Just like that, right? Nice, good amount of padding. Now we can begin flipping these back over, and this volume is not going to collapse. It is going to stay all night long. And now I can begin taking down these. And remember when I said I was going to save my Osis for last? That's what I'm doing now because it adds a good amount of shine, and I love the way that this looks. I'm going to spray that right on top. And I still want to pump some texture powder underneath. Okay, just like that. And same thing, texture powder underneath. I'm going to spray a little bit of this medium hold hairspray right on top as well. Lightly back comb underneath. And I'm really fanning this out to cover the padding and to kind of come all the way around. So it's like, see how far I'm coming over? And that looks really pretty. Spraying it. And now same thing, we're gonna add these top sections into the ponytail. Pump texture powder underneath. Just a little light layer of hairspray on top. And now comb that through. I can tell that from the wet hairspray, it looks a little crunchy, so I want to avoid that. So I'm just going to brush through any of that. Loosen it up, and now lightly back comb underneath. And add that right in. And hairspray. Okay. And this section, same thing. Spray. See, I'm running low. No. Okay. No more of that hairspray. Going back to the Moroccan oil because I ran out. All right. And lightly back comb underneath and just fan this out nice and far. Adding that into my layer underneath. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Just gonna make sure there's no visible back comb on this top. So this is what it's looking like so far. Lots of height, lots of volume, so pretty. Remember this top little baby? Well, what we're gonna do with her, what we're gonna do with this one is I'm gonna grab a bobby pin, okay? And I am going to make sure this is good and smooth right at the base here. Just like so. Nice and smooth. Go ahead and look all the way up for me. Yep. Nice and smooth right here at the base. And I'm going to direct this forward, right? Direct this all the way forward because right now you can see the bungee, right? You can see the hair tie. I'm going to direct this all the way forward and I've got good tension, just like this. And I'm going to put it right down right here. I'm going to grab a bobby pin, open up my grip, and bobby pin this just like this. So I don't know if you can see this on this side. I'm going to have you go like this. Yep. But I'm going to show you like this. I'm going to put the bobby pin and just connect this top piece to my section. Just like this. I don't want to hurt my client, being very careful. Okay. Now I'm going to take this section just like this. I'm going to add a little bit of texture underneath. And now I'm going to back comb just a little bit here. Again, I don't want it to be visible on the top. But I'm just gonna go like that and fan it out like this. Going in with my hairspray. Making sure to add this into the look. Okay, and now remember this area, I'm just gonna go ahead and clean this up as well. So I'm gonna take more hairspray and really make sure that this is nice and smooth. No little baby hairs sticking out. Take a look at her from all angles here. And I think I want more, even more in the front. So I'm kind of just gonna very carefully try to divide this hair here because I want some of the volume that's in this ponytail to be added to the front. I think that'll look really stunning with the style. So now let me just try to clean up here, add this in. Same thing on this side. Right? Yeah, so beautiful. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is remember how I said on darker haired clients, you can see more of the scalp right here. I'm just gonna go in and kind of cover a little bit of that with some of my root touch up spray. So I am going to have my client hold this in front of her face while I spray right in here, just to make sure that everything looks nice and cohesive. So what I'm gonna have you do is you're gonna go ahead and hold this just like that. Yep. And now right here, I'm going to be very careful and I'm just going to begin to spray Magic Root Cover Up Black. And I'm going to go like this and shake it and really make sure that I'm like holding right here and be very careful so that I don't get her makeup messed up. And I can always go in now with my finger and kind of bring that down. Yes, your fingers will turn very black. But this just helps it all look nice and blended. Right here. Just kind of cover her roots. And now I'm going to blend this in. Whoopsie. There we go. Be very gentle. Look how black my fingers are. All right. And you can actually buy online. I just haven't done it. I really need to get one. You can buy these like little things that aren't actual sprays, but rather it's kind of like a makeup application. I've heard really good things about it and it seems to work pretty good. I just don't have it and I really need to get some so that it's easier to do this on dark clients. Okay, go ahead and remove it. And now I'm just going to bring this in with my fingers. I'm even going to spray some on my fingers and kind of just brush it up against her scalp. But that looks a little bit better. And there you go. That is your beautiful, super full glam bridal look with this big old voluminous ponytail. There's the finished look.